Mate, just give this a click.
Oh, no, I've seen it. Yeah, I did. I checked it before, and I lingered. I lingered on that one.
So maybe, there's some consolation for the people of the United States of America riding around on their 56 horsepower ZX4RRs, just knowing that bikes like this exist.
I mean, that's not getting through the noise restrictions, is it? Look at it.
Well, it probably doesn't have to be homologated, does it? So,
no, I guess
for
not.
anyone who's listening on audio only, this is from Rusty Butcher on Instagram, and they've posted a picture of a custom build that they're currently in the process of, knocking together. And how would you describe that, mate?
That is a very skinny-looking Pan America.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pan America,
mate.
yeah. Other than the headlight, I guess, the rest of it is so stripped back and bare and just really showcases off that engine. It's got a really tall stance on it. It looks like a dirt bike.
So, I've actually done a bit of digging, mate. I went back through their posts, and there's a bit of a build list, which is really quite interesting. So, here's the lowdown. You're exactly right. Pan America engine, 1250 version of their Revolution Max, but they've swapped the entire front end, so fork, wheel, brakes, all that kind of stuff, for a CRF 450, a completely different motorcycle from a completely different manufacturer. Basically just bolted straight on, they say, just needed a few spacers. Then they cut a hole in the swing arm and then re-welded some more metal back in there to allow more space for that big knobbly-bobbly rear tyre.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, and the 18-inch rear wheel, because it's 17 on the Pan America. Cut the subframe off and built their own custom subframe, which is much smaller and thinner. Bolted on a Sportster S tank. And because that's on the same platform as the Pan America, they say it just bolted straight on because it had the same mounting points, which is really interesting. It's like a little peanut tank, isn't it? And it makes it look really cool.
Yeah. I didn't even notice that they changed that part of it, but you're right, it would look quite different with the bigger Pan America tank on it.
Totally. Yeah, it's a much, much bigger tank.
And it'd handle a lot differently.
Then they say they took off anything they don't need for racing it. So passenger pegs. Well, actually, on the Instagram post, it says passenger legs. I think that's a typo. I think it's passenger pegs. Because passengers do need legs for racing, probably.
Well, yeah, if you're going to take them on the race with you. It would still help, though, wouldn't it? It's weight saving at the end of the day.
They do help if you're sitting on the back of a enduro version of a Pan America going around an enduro race. Took off anything, took off the covers and anything that adds weight that they don't need. Still to go, they say, a new rear shock, a new rear fender, a seat, I guess, lowering the front end by 3 inches, rear brake caliper, some more side panels. And I think they've done all those stuff in that most recent picture because it looks all but finished.
Yes.
What really jumps out to me about this, mate, I mean, it's a crazy build, and I love it when people do stuff that just doesn't make any sense like this. But the one part of a Pan America that people really don't seem to like in the comments of our videos about it is that big wide headlight. And it's the only damn thing they've saved apart from the engine.
Yeah, the irony of that, is quite funny. However, I think, it works better in this configuration. I haven't seen it from the front. It's very difficult to tell from the side. It might be a very different case from the front. But I think to maintain... I don't know if I'd have even guessed that it was a Pan America without the headlight cover on it. I think...
It's probably just there to annoy people as well. Like, imagine zooming past somebody on like if they're a decent rider, which they probably are, because you got to back yourself if you're going to do something silly like this. It's just there so that anybody who sees you come past, when you're overtaking people, just has a moment where they're like, "Was that Pan America?"
Yeah, that would be very satisfying. Yeah,
I'd imagine this thing puts out way too much power to actually even get any traction.
An unreasonable amount. As soon as you've broken traction, the rest of it is just for show, isn't it? Really,
it's just power sliding around the whole course and then getting people to help them pick it up when it inevitably goes over. Wow, fantastic. I love that. In fact, if people want to leave a comment on this particular video on the Full Tank Motorcycle Podcast YouTube channel with suggestions for the next bike of the week, I'm not talking production, standard builds. I wouldn't even say I'm that interested for this segment in kind of like playing it safe, retro customs. I like all that stuff, but we know what we're getting there. What we do want is stuff like this, where someone's just done something illogical. It doesn't have to look good. It can just be of technical interest, and maybe just appreciating the illogical, irrational nature of motorcyclists, because that's what I like.